All right, so we're back with another episode of Life with Albinism. We have a new guest today. We'll let him introduce himself. And we want to do a brief introduction where you tell us about your life and how was living with albinism for you and how do you find albinism to be. Introduce your name, your social medias, and all of that.
So, my name is Joshua Cintron. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. Born in Bedford-Stuyvesant, actually. In the same hospital that Biggie Smalls was born in 1974, except I was born in 86. I guess when it comes to albinism in my neighborhood specifically, there really wasn't so much me being different or something like that up until maybe the first grade.
Oh, okay. That's when you started to notice it, I guess, when you were like around other kids in a kid-style setting, like school.
Yeah, and it's like, it's really scary because the first thing that I noticed was I couldn't see anything on the board. Like,
at school? This was
that
me. Definitely happens.
I'm trying to write. I'm trying to write, and you have the chalkboard, and then you have the glare from the sun, and then you have the glare from the lights. So I couldn't see anything. And a lot of people thought, no, you know what? It's Josh, and he has a short attention span, and he's just interested in trains, and he doesn't want to be there. And I'm like, no, I want to learn. I'm trying to pass this class. I just can't see anything. And that was one of the first clues that I guess, well, not that something was wrong, but there was something that was different.
Something that was different about you.
Yeah.
That's strange. I thought your teachers would know, or you would have an IEP, and they would know that you had a visual impairment.
Well, see, here's the funny thing about that. Around that time, nobody really knew how I was going to do in school, how I was going to interact, how my vision was going to play a part up until the first grade when I started going to, like, SUNY and, like, 42nd Street, which was back on 23rd when I was a kid, and HHBI. And that's when they were like, you know what? So he's not really faking it. His vision really is
It really is bad.
Bad, and we're gonna have to write up an IEP for him, and there's certain things he's gonna need, and there's certain things he's gonna, like enlarge his tests and whatever.
Yeah, textbooks.
And what do they call that little yellow film that you put on the paper to reduce the glare?
The carbon paper? No,
yeah, that.
I don't know what that is. What y'all talking
It was like okay.
No,
so you have like the loose leaf, and then you have like the little yellow film that you put on right on top to reduce the glare.
No, that's not the carbon. Carbon paper is when, if someone was taking notes for you, they would place that under theirs, and when
so
they
it
were
would make like
it would make copy notes.
It would make like triplicate.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, so growing up and living with albinism for you as a kid and growing into the teenage years, was it enjoyable, or did you ever become frustrated with it or depressed about it, anything like that?
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. There were many points in my life, like even pre-adolescence, that I was very, very frustrated with who I was, and admittedly, around I want to say 10, 11 years old, there was almost a point to like I was self-loathing, and it's something difficult to talk about. Because around that time, you're still trying to figure out who you are. You're still trying to figure out,
your personality,
your personality and things like that. And then you have other people that are like, "You're not Puerto Rican, you're white." And then you want to be like, "Well, who the hell are you?" But then, you looking like me and having an accent like me. You thought I was Caucasian when I walked in the door.
I definitely did. I thought he was Caucasian. I was gonna say, our first white albino on the show, and he says he's I believe him.
Yeah,
he says he's Puerto Rican, so I'm like, okay, we just had a Puerto Rican on the show.
So, and I know the last person. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, Alex. Yeah, he's super interesting, man. And I love having different guests on the show. I mean, we've had everything. We've had elderly people on the show. We've had children on the show. We've had women, men, kids, things like that. So I try to get a different perspective. And you and Alex being the first Puerto Ricans with albinism, I think we haven't had a white albino on the show.
I know a lot of them.
Really?
Yeah, but except they're out of state.
Oh.
I'll get into that later.
All right. So today's topic, we're going to talk about skin problems and vision problems with albinism. So we'll do one at a time. So we'll start with vision, and we'll go across the board, and we'll all give our own depiction of what it's like. So tell us about your vision problems with albinism. Tell us about, glasses, prescriptions. Give us the whole rundown of what it is for you.
So my vision, I cannot do anything without my glasses, anything at all. The one thing that I might be able to do without my glasses is maybe bounce off of a wall and then figure out that's probably not where I'm supposed to be going. But without my glasses, essentially, like, I'm prone to a lot of headaches. I'm prone to, it's bright out there, and it's like I purposefully have the transition on my lenses.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So, because I get a lot of migraines and everything. And then the other thing is, I don't mean to sound braggadocious, so you're going to have to forgive me. I'm one of the few people in the albinism community, because there's a small minority of us that can actually operate a motor vehicle with a bioptic lens. And within the state of New York, I don't know like how the rules are in other states, but I know within the state of New York, you at least have to have the bioptic lens in the car with you.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to wear it, but you have to have it with you, for whatever. And then I usually have the bioptic lens when I'm driving to somewhere where I'm not familiar, where I need to see the signs.
Okay, so you can drive.
Mm-hmm.
So now tell us about that. Do you know what your vision is with and without your glasses, so that people who want to drive with albinism can know where they stand?
So, the short answer, I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head. I'm going to be real honest with you.
Okay.
But I know for sure that the Department of Motor Vehicles here in the state of New York, there is a cutoff of, I think, 2070.
Yes. Yep. That's exactly the cutoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
That's exactly
the
it.
cutoff of 2070 to where you are either able to use a bioptic lens or not. And I'm in this weird position to where I technically can use I can use my regular glasses to drive, but by law, because of where my vision is, it's on this cusp of, yeah, you could use it, and no, your vision sucks. You're gonna want to use it. And then when it comes to night driving, it's something completely different, because now you have to compensate for the glare of the headlights and things like that.
Yeah.
And like my vision is just it's like right on the fence.
Yeah.
It's right on the fence.
Okay, so now for me, I cannot drive, and I did try. I went to the DMV, and I took the went to go take the road test, and the first thing you have to do is pass the vision part.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, okay, I can't do this.
Well, what's your vision?
Okay, so with glasses, it's 2100. Without glasses, it's 2200. So, so with that being said, I was like you said, I was like just right below that portion where it's like, okay, if it would have been a little bit better, I possibly could have drove with bioptics.
Yeah.
I actually do have a pair of bioptics. I have some. Yeah, I have some in my room right now. And with bioptics, I could drive if my vision was just a tiny bit better. So I was right there on that borderline where it was
crazy.
like, oh, you don't meet the requirement, and you can't drive.
And it's really funny, because even if you have the vision to do it, like, to get the bioptic is a pain in the neck, because my whole ordeal was, like, I'd gotten my permit. I passed the test for my permit, okay? And I waited 2 years for my insurance to be like, oh, we're going to pay for it. Oh, no, somebody else is going to pay for it. 2 years of that. And I was just waiting for my bioptic and waiting for my bioptic and waiting for my bioptic. And by the time I got the damn bioptic, I had to do my permit again.
Wow.
I'm serious. Like, I had just found a school that actually is certified to help people with bioptic driving. There's a school up in Wappingers Falls. A very smart guy that I got to meet. His name is Matt Meltzer. He heads up a driving school up in Wappingers Falls, about maybe 15 minutes from Poughkeepsie. He actually showed me how to drive. You know, and then I had some help from my family and things like that to where I couldn't make the trips back and forth between Brooklyn and Poughkeepsie because Metro North adds up.
Definitely.
Now, what about you, Jason? Can you
me,
drive? Have you tried?
I cannot drive. I did not even make an attempt to go to the DMV.
Why not make an attempt? Like, why not take the vision
My vision
test?
is 2200.
Yeah, I get it.
When I go to the eye doctor, it's that big E, the first letter, and that's it.
That's
So,
all.
I
You
knew,
have trouble there.
yeah, you know,
Wow.
I didn't want to go and just embarrass myself and say,
No, I get it.
What about bioptics? Have you tried that?
I have never tried it. I have not worn glasses in maybe 15 years.
Wow.
It's been
Not at all? Like, not even on and
Not,
off?
it did not help much. My vision's 2200. With glasses, I was probably about 2180. It doesn't make much of a difference.
No.
Now, see, that's the one difference I don't understand, because it's like, his vision is 2200. My vision without glasses is 2200. But with glasses, my vision is 2100. So why can't he put on glasses and have 2100 like me?
It's a different prescription. Yeah, it's the thickness of the lens, the magnification of the lens. I only play a doctor on TV, I promise.
But if we're both at 2200, why wouldn't we both have the same effect on wearing glasses?
We have different eyes.
Yeah, it could be different conditions in the eye. It could be, you know, in my case, I know that when my blood pressure goes up, I actually lose some visual acuity because my nystagmus also acts up, and that's when I really can't do like the eye exam with like the big E or whatever.
Okay.
You know,
Focus.
yeah, because I can't focus. And when that happens to me when I'm driving, and it's happened to me, it scares the hell out of me. I have to pull over and relax myself.
Okay, and like give your eyes a rest. Okay. Wow.
But how do you drive when like sunset, when the sun's coming?
Oh yeah, and it's like
even when I'm a passenger,
summertime and it's like super
I
bright.
keep my eyes closed.
So I got a story for you. So it was not a few weeks ago. I was driving with my mother. I was in Queens. I just came back from the Home Depot on Woodhaven Boulevard, and as I'm turning off of Metropolitan Avenue, the sun just hits me clear in the face, and I'm just like, you know, this probably wasn't a good idea. So I did I took my little visor thing and I flipped it down, and that didn't help. So I'm just like, I at this point I kind of have to pull over because I don't see anything.
Okay.
I see maybe the car in front of me, and I'm keeping a reasonable distance behind him, because what if he slams on his brakes and I plow right into him? You know, and it's scary because it's almost as if like, and I really hate to use this analogy, it's almost as if the car in front of you was giving you sighted guide.
Well, you know, one important thing that you mentioned is transition lens.
Yeah.
I made sure I put transition lens in my glasses. The only thing is, it gets a little annoying at times, because then it's like even a slight pinch of sunlight and your whole thing turns gray, and then you're like, you know what I mean? But it's definitely useful because it helps your eyes during that time.
Yeah, and I have the transitions on my lenses too. The weird part of it is though, like because of the tint on my windshield, it takes a little bit longer for the transition to actually.
Oh, to see through the tint that's already on the windshield.
Regardless of the fact that the sun is beaming me dead in the face.
And you can get a tinted windshield.
I mean, you have to have a certain permit to do it, but you can't do it. You just got to carry the permit with you.
Oh, okay. Good.
Now, what do you do, Jason, for the glares of the sunlight, since you don't have glasses at all?
I always wear a hat, wear a cap,
Ditto.
and I just keep it real low.
Oh, and you wear sunglasses a lot too.
I wear sunglasses as well.
Oh, okay.
I got a whole collection of hats.
Yeah.
I had to start doing. As a matter of fact, Jason is the one that started getting me into wearing hats again, because I actually don't like wearing hats. But then he was telling me, he was like, you know, when you wear the hat, it's to protect your eyes and your face from the,
You use
from
like
the
the
sunlight.
hat to
Right. So because he told me that, you know, that I started wearing hats more often, and now it's actually very, very useful because it automatically shades you from that sunlight that's beaming down on you, and then it's very protective for your eyes as well, because it's not letting the UVA rays directly into your retina.
Exactly.
You know, so it's definitely useful to have the transition lens, wear a hat, you know, and wear sunglasses. If you don't wear glasses at all, wear sunglasses.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's another thing. Like, I wanted to get like the sunglasses, but apparently, like, my doctor at SUNY was like, well, they have these plastic sunglasses that you put over the glasses you already have, and I kind of looked at them like, why?
Like, that's gonna look kind of goofy.
What am I gonna? I mean, it's. I probably shouldn't say this, but this one woman that I'm seeing at the moment, she's like, well, I got the sunglasses and everything. I'm like, well, I mean, I gotta be honest with you, you look fine in them, but and she has albinism too, very talented artist and everything, and she, like, her sensitivity to the sun is a little bit more than mine, but she's one of the few that can actually pull off the sunglasses better than probably me. So, you know.
So now, how did you guys meet?
We met through Facebook. Like, I wouldn't say years ago, but I started following one of her pages. She has, she's an artist, and she does a lot of digital renderings, a lot of drawings and things like that. And it's almost as if, like, as soon as I started following her, like, I became a fan of her work, because if you take a look at the as I try and relearn English, when you take a look at the page, a lot of the renderings that she does, it's almost like you're looking through like, how can I say this? It's almost like a rendering of what's right there in front of her. You know?
Like photoreality.
Almost.
Okay.
So, I followed her work for a while, and then I had gotten up the gall to instant message her one day, and she's like, well, hi, and I'm like, hey, I'm just, you know, a real big fan of your work and everything, and hi, how you doing? I'm Josh, and you're a really cool artist, and I'm Joe Schmo from Brooklyn. How you doing?
You know, it'd have been interesting for you to bring her on the show too. I wish I'd have known you were dating a woman with albinism.
I wish I could have, but she's out of state.
Oh, she's out of state right now?
Yeah, she's out of state. She's in Virginia.
Oh, okay. So now, what are some other issues that having low vision brings you? And I want you both to answer that.
Who's going first?
All right, let's let Jason go first.
What other issues? No, it's mainly driving. That's the only issue. Getting around, transportation, always having to take a bus. And I say it limits me as far as wanting to leave New York City, because other places, the public transportation is nothing like New York. I would not be able to get around.
Right. And that's one thing that I always told, like, my family and stuff too, especially when graduating. I was like, yo, I have to move back to New York, because there's no other place that has massive transit on every single corner, from buses to the trains to the dollar vans to the cabs to this and that. You know what I mean? And you know, every state has some form of public transit, but it may not be as dependable. So, like in Virginia, unless you're in like the heavy Richmond area,
like they have like HRT.
Yeah, they do, but it's like heavy in like the Richmond area. If you're in like Colonial Heights or Chester or something like that, there's no way you're going to get around. You know what I mean? So having low vision does really plant you in a place where there has to be metropolitan transportation.
Like my aunt and uncle, they live in King George, and there is nothing out there. Nothing. Yeah. All you see is trees and houses and maybe the occasional cow.
Right. You have to drive. And I think that's the biggest downside about having low vision, is the fact that you cannot drive. So you're constantly dependent on someone else, you know, or not someone else, but you're constantly dependent on another mechanism to get around, which would be the public transit. Yeah. You know, school was a really big downside to having low vision. Very big. Like, not being able to see the board to write down your notes, having to get note takers. The good thing is with every school, there's always a department for the visually impaired or disability
Like
department.
disability services.
Right, that will service you. In closing, let's just give some advice on how to handle having low vision with albinism, and we'll start with Jason, and we'll work our way to the guys.
How to handle it? I don't know. Everyone handles it differently. You have to do what works for you. If it's glasses, sunglasses are a must. Always just protect your eyes. Sunglasses. Make sure you do your annual visits to your eye doctor, and just take care of your eyes.
I would definitely say constantly go to the eye doctor. Make sure you're upgrading your prescription. Wear your glasses, but don't wear them too much because, sometimes your eyes will get a little too dependent on the glasses. So you want to have those times where you don't wear your glasses just to kind of keep your eyes able to strengthen without dependency.
Yeah.
Definitely wear hats. Get transition lens. If not, get sunglasses. And for the school settings or any kind of professional settings, make sure you have the things adequate to help you. So school settings, get the note takers. Work setting, make sure you get the enlarged screen on your monitor so that you can see and you don't have to sit too close to your computer screen.
I'm going to echo the sentiments of the both of you, and I'm going to add probably a couple more things. When it comes to employment specifically, nobody, when they're interviewing you, is supposed to ask about your vision at all. Even if you have an ID cane out, not supposed to ask. So
really? My job always asks me about my vision. Me and Jason, they're like, "Oh, can you see if you go do these home visits?"
I mean,
they didn't ask me.
Well, they kind of ask me for you
to a certain extent, like if it's line of work. But when you're doing the interview,
okay, the interview probably, yeah.
That's when you should be a little wary, and you might want to get like the commission for the blind involved. You said something about the glasses specifically. Keeping your prescription upgraded, keeping it updated, making sure that you routinely go to the eye doctor and check your eyes and make sure that everything's working the way it should. And then if you are just about to get a pair of bioptic lenses, before you even so much as start driving in them, honestly, walk around in them and get used to them because
get used to look. You're right. Because it looks like a magnifying glass just stuck to your face. So, you might want to wear them walking around first to get your eyes used to them, so it's not just a shock. When
it will throw you off, but you have to get used to it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, thank you so much, man. Think we had a good episode, man.
Thanks.